1, 2, 3. There we go. Exploring a new adventure into reality. This sounds really crazy. I think that's from another guy, not from me. So, let's start this, can we? And if we go like this, I can speak here, and it's quite incredible. Yes. Oh yes, it's quite freaking incredible. So, starting this, hello dear beautiful souls, made of love and light, and welcome to today's session, which is totally dedicated, again, for you to connect to yourself, to your other self, a more high frequency version of yourself. It sounds great. So the first that we will look at is harmlessness. Learning to communicate with soul and spirit and act upon its guidance will lead you to live a life congruent with your spiritual plan, one which behaves with harmlessness towards others. Harmlessness is another way of saying karmicless. Harmlessness and effortlessness are core energetic principles that reflect how spirit moves in time and space, based in universal law. Thus, we seek to emulate the qualities of harmlessness and effortlessness to connect with spirit in our HGS session and in every area of our lives. HGS means Hierogamic session, or Hieros Gamos, which is balancing of polarities. Inner marriage. Inner spirit guidance always acts in harmlessness toward self and others, never attack, only defend. Spirit avoids increasing karmic entanglements, so evolution is accelerated through harmlessness via accepting responsibility for life patterns and accountable towards actions. Natural law is to conserve energy to maximize impact. Be fluid in motion. Shift paradigm of growling word to effortlessness to maximize energy efficiency. Nature moves effortlessly to generate power. Emulate nature. Please develop energetic effortlessness and maximize output efficiently by prioritizing your tasks. Reducing mental and physical stress increases receptivity to creative solutions to resolve problems. Living harmlessly, living harmlessly. Harmlessness is another way to say karmicless. In this way, you become efficient with energy management and stop the karmic footprint from repeating destructive patterns on the earth. This also stops the pattern of destructive patterns with people in your life. The real spiritual self will not direct you to attack or intentionally harm another being, ever. The spiritual intelligence knows that all energy in the universe is love and is balanced at some point in time, that nothing justifies harm. Harm as an energetic consequence of karmic imbalance, and if intentional harm is directed to hurt others or the self, that energy will be returned to the being at some point in time to make amends, rebalance. This means you will get more loads of karmic lessons and destructive patterns to balance in your life experience and within your relationship with others. Your spirit wants to evolve and stop the karmic generating process and will lead you to learn those steps. This is not punishment. It is the law of responsibility, a law which most humans have forgotten. All of us are ultimately responsible for how we have directed the energetic consciousness we have been given while in a bodily form. Many of us, doing energy session or spiritual work, will find trauma from other lifetimes where this harm has been generated towards others, or we have received harm from others. Generally, harm is generated from ignorance at our own perceived disconnection from others. At this time, we can clear, heal, and resolve all harm that has been made in all relationships, bringing energetic balance to ourselves and the others involved. When coming to observe such circumstances in one's healing process, become the compassionate witness. Know that the cycle is ending and we are witnessing many different levels of harm that have been perpetrated over eons of time. Humans are making the choice to live congruent with their spiritual source, and now can learn again to live in harmlessness. The quickest way to evolve and clear energetic imbalance is to be of genuine service to others and attempt to show sincere kindness and harmlessness to everyone. Because of the challenging nature to penetrate the incredible obstacles and negative control that is placed to prevent empowerment from an informed awareness being easily available to the masses, conservation ethics are also about living with a goal of acting in harmlessness towards yourself and others. Conservation ethics is a mastery skill that everyone will benefit from learning how to apply in absolutely every area of personal lifestyle, all interrelationships, as well as the successful management of any type of currency or resource. Conservation ethics is being able to discern the right use of action and resources. Being aware of conservation ethics is about harnessing precious time and life force energies to be more effective and impactful through direct focus and right timing. These skills expand and differ slightly as one develops. Living harmlessly and applying conservation ethics in the management of personal self, the management of children and family, the management of group resources, the management of community. As this planet is ending, the waste of consumptive modeling and energetic vampirism and its architecture, as directed by Dark Force to adapt to the shift, we will be required to develop energetic conservation skills as well as learn the art of living harmlessly. Cultivate the wisdom in learning when to engage or apply action, and when not to engage with others. Just allow, especially within conflicting circumstances. When neutralizing conflict, we can apply win-win scenarios of compassionate communication, in which both parties are treated with respect and the intention is harm to none. No person needs to justify their existence to another or to care what people think or judge upon them. Staying clear of emotional tantrums and dramas and not engaging means one is not feeding the drama to escalate into chaos. Drama is another type of potential harm that can escalate negativity in a variety of ways. Dark forces uses drama and conflict to instigate schisms and chaos between self and others, making us less effective, distracting us, and scattering our energies. This is a dark force ego tactic of divide and conquer to spin out confusion and prevent unity. Conserving energy means a stronger focus, where one becomes much more effective and productive with managing personal energies. When we learn this skill, we gain access to more resources and improve our exchanges to connect with our spiritual sources. Spiritual sources. When we learn this skill, we gain access to more resources and improve our exchanges to connect with our spiritual sources. If we waste time and energy, if we abuse our spiritual energies or others, we reach an energy threshold that cannot be increased, draining us and therefore dissipating its positive influence. The inner personal Christ is inherently available inside every human being, man, woman, or child that chooses to live dedicated to cultivating heart-based virtue, dedicated to serving God with reverence for all life, which works in alignment with the spirits of Christ. No intention to harm oneself or harm another with malice can be present with the Spirit of God or true Christianity. A real Christless being will consciously exit the form he inhabits without traumatic death and create another living form to express within in another location of time and space. This is the ultimate function of the meaning of ascension. There is no killing of the physical body required to transform the eternal spirit to exist within another form body. There is only the death of the ego and death to the satanic and dark nature from controlling the body and consciousness. Since the NAA genetic damage has reduced the absorbed spiritual light in a 3D physical body, currently the human body wears out and physical death is known to all humanity. When a human activates their inner personal Christ, there is no death, and thus conscious exit from this dimension is taken. This is called transfiguration and is the original design of the divinity within the inner Christless light of a human being. Thus, rituals of consuming Jesus Christ's body and drinking his blood does not activate the inner Christ, as it represents the violent crucified death of the Christ within humanity. When we see Jesus on the cross, we should remember that he is a human being, and all of humanity is represented through him. Deconstruct the cross for Jesus, and simultaneously we deconstruct the cross for all human beings. And that leads us to personal integrity. Personal integrity is the quality of being truthful and honest with yourself and others, of intentionally aligning personal behaviors and actions to be congruent with your own personal value systems, moral principles, and ethics. It generally requires personal choice and commitment to align ourselves and to stay consistent with personal values and ethical standards, so that when we speak, we mean what we say. Developing personal integrity is essential to becoming a stable, clear, and trustworthy person that aligns their decisions in life with their chosen personal values. It is the milestone of building strong character, which is guided by the one's chosen personal values. This is reflected in a person that is firmly centered in purpose and directed in life by their own core self. We compromise our core integrity whenever we let others make poor decisions for us, or when we betray a trust, betray our personal values, or betray that which we know is the truth for ourselves. When we compromise our personal integrity, we allow a backdoor vulnerability for dark force manipulation that many times descends even more darkness and chaos into the situation where we had made the compromise. To support the embodiment of our true essential nature and achieve single soul occupancy and continual consciousness expansion, it is imperative that we understand how to generate and maintain personal integrity. And that leads us to self-inquiry upon personal integrity. So to build and maintain personal integrity takes some effort and commitment. Takes developing the self-awareness that is required to define your personal values so that you can measure your behaviors and action in order to evaluate how aligned you are to your authentic self. To your authentic self. When you consciously participate in clarifying personal beliefs and core values, then the next step is to honestly assess how well you are doing by reviewing yourself in a personal integrity report. It may be a powerfully positive process to review your core values and generate personal integrity reports annually, so that you can see how you are evolving and transforming as you become better aligned to your own personal value system. This begins to develop more competency in self-leadership and life management skills, so that you are empowered to make positive differences from the values that you lead in your life. Real self-leadership and self-ownership begins when we have absolute clarity within the context of our personal beliefs and core values, which become the guiding principles we follow in our lives. What are the most important personal values that motivate my life? That's a nice question. So, choose up to 5 of the most important core values that feel the most essential to live authentically and express your highest purpose. Then focus upon those themes that you have chosen and evaluate whether you are practicing and increasing these important values throughout your life. In the Guardian context, for reclamation of Christ, our personal core value system would be directly connected to the law of one practices. For example, for those dedicated to be of service to the law of one, some of our most important personal core values are expressing unity consciousness, knowing we are all interconnected, expressing unconditional love and compassion to myself, love others, and love Earth. Expressing service to others, orientation to motivate personal actions. Maybe upon the deeper reflection or in the future, you'll find that your most important personal values are shifting or are revealing differently in order to become more specific in their quality. The more specific we are in identifying our core values, the more accurate and clear we can be when applying those to the behaviors that guide our life. As an example, let's say through deeper self-study, you have identified a recurring pattern that makes it hard to feel confident in valuing yourself when in the company of intimidating people. One of the core values that you choose is to value yourself equally to others, no matter what happens. To make this an important guideline in your life will help strengthen personal behavior to value yourself while in intimidating situations, which increases personal integrity. Once you've defined some of your most important personal values, then inquire on each one to evaluate how you can better align your thoughts and behaviors with the meaning of each value. For example, ask 3 questions about the core values of expressing unity to help you accurately assess positive changes that you can make to be more authentic and in integrity. So come on, what does unity mean to me? How do I express unity in my thoughts, behaviors, and actions? How can I better practice unity consciousness throughout my life? Am I practicing empathy with others to more deeply express unity? Am I living in personal integrity, and what areas can I improve? As you meditate and reflect on your life over the past year, assess if you have been authentic to your core values and the ways that you can improve your actions. To reflect integrity and authenticity in the future. In each area, when reflecting upon personal values, inquire on what is aligned to your authentic self, those things that feel they are functioning well. Then place your attention upon the personal lessons and opportunities that you have to greatly increase inner strength, the core strength you will need in order to act authentically and in personal integrity. Now, summarize the key points in your personal integrity assessment for reference. As you gain clarity on identifying important personal values and how you can build and maintain authentic integrity, prepare a summary of key points that you can revisit for inspiration to help guide your life direction and purpose in the next cycle. Print out your notes to clarify in more detail your personal vision for living within core personal values, knowing that when you are maintaining personal integrity, it naturally aligns to fulfill your highest purposes. Embodying core personal values, living, thinking, and breathing those values is what expresses personal integrity. This is the key to avoid negative cause and effect or miasmatic imprints upon what you are manifesting. Then make an effort to reread and reflect upon your personal integrity assessment regularly to keep you focused on what personal core values are the most important guiding principles of fulfilling your most authentic expression. And this has a practical application of embodying integrity in the process of completing a personal integrity self-assessment and consciously choosing your value system based on what you know to be true for you. Now is the time to take conscious steps every day to behave in ways that are consistent with your personal values. There is a huge list here. I'm not going to read it to you. Now the world is rapidly changing during these stages of bifurcation, where the negative polarity and positive polarity spirals are becoming more extreme and amplified in the external. In order to stay deeply connected into our core self and to withstand the massive impact of these opposing forces colliding, we must take conscious steps now to embody personal integrity. We cannot serve both of these powers without them colliding, so it is up to each of us to choose what we align with and to participate in bringing all aspects of our lives into this unified and congruent alignment. It's up to you. It's always up to you. Okay? And this is armlessness only. Just armlessness. We have so much more during this session. Oh yes. It's freaking tastic. And you can find this small text in the page 77 of the Crystal Ages booklet. It is a very good tool to support your life, to give you support, to somehow make you not feel alone, and to relate more about yourself, to speak more with yourself, and to understand and realize that yourself is a multidimensional self, which exists simultaneously in various timelines. For example, it's really easy to assess these matters of personality. We can say that mainly we do work in a three-dimensional world, if you want to understand that way. So, by analogy, we have three timelines: the past, present, and future. See? Everything, it's relating. Okay? We don't, at least I don't see 3D as a bad thing. 3D, it's not a bad thing. Actually, we can learn a lot in 3D if we just pay attention to the details. Okay? Because you can access three timelines simultaneously. However, the future may seem blurry to you. Okay? You can have a real, vivid recall of your past and your present. So with a vivid recall of your past and your present, you can create your future, or more or less foresee your future. While rooted in this ever-present moment of the now, you are accessing three dimensions of time simultaneously. So this is not weird, not a fucking crazy thought. If you think that you are crazy because you think that you are capable to access much more of yourself, then I have to say to you, you are not crazy. You are just waking up for another dimension, or many other dimensions. And suddenly, when you see yourself as a multidimensional being, you come to this realization that, wow, it is important to have this remembrance of our past, to know what we were, because when we were there, we were just discovering the world around us. We are not focusing on ourselves. We were focusing on mom, dad, cousins, sisters, brothers, grandparents, whatever, friends. Because we were growing up. Now that more or less we have some life experience, now we can go into the past. See, you are time traveling already. While rooted in this present, you can go into the past and you can know thyself clearly and objectively, and you will discover many more important aspects or details that you were not looking in before. This can be crazy. Yes, it can be very crazy, but it's happening right here, right now. And this, when you bring this past, this reconciliation of your past into your presence, you have the awareness of who you are actually and what you were feeling on that time. And when you are in the past, you can ask the question, is it my future self talking to me, giving me these ideas? Is it Christ? Jesus Christ? Is it God? Oh my God. What is it that informs my past? That somehow, today, on this ever-present moment of the now, I can see clearly my past, and I almost can foresee my future. Just because I open myself multidimensionally in the fucking 3D that no one likes about it, because 3D is a stupid thing. Well, if 3D didn't exist, you couldn't ascend into 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10, 11, 12, and so much more. I stop in the 12 because they say that a dozen is more profitable than any other number. And it's quite weird, because when you put 1 and 2 together, they create 3. Number 3. This third dimension that people say, oh, it's really confusing. Yes, it is really confusing. But when you start to go inside and ask questions about the outside world and why this and why that, then you can realize that on the third dimension you are making some really important process. You are leaping, jumping into timelines, into dimensions, and you are ascending on your creational process. You have become, right now, we have become this and that. I am Raphael, the other is Diana, I don't know. You know, we have become. We have created ourselves. Because on another plane of energy, we were just energy. Can you see energy? Can you touch energy? Yes. So, see, the same energy that you can feel and sense and see in the third dimensional world exists on the other side, and so much more that you cannot see right now. But if we have these understandings that all the dimensions are happening simultaneously, then one freaking day someone can wake up and say, I'm listening to music, and the music is making me see colors that I didn't saw before. Or I can have a better understanding of things that I didn't before. Or I can even move objects without touching them. And there are people today in the world with all these qualities that I'm saying to you. This is not a weird, crazy thing. These are things that are happening in 3D. And sorry to say this, once you start pushing yourself, because you are putting yourself in 3D and wanting to ascend into a higher dimensional plane like 5D, you cannot, because you keep on limiting yourself. And other people that say they are teachers and masters and whatever, they keep on saying that 3D is a lower thing, we don't want to be there. But if we are everywhere, we even exist in something that they cannot relate to, which is the dimension of 0. Okay? They just speak to you about the 0 point, but they don't tell you about the 0 dimension. They are capable of talking to you about no time, about no dimension, about the void, about whatever. But they are not capable of talking to you about the 0 point, which is the entry point, which in sacred geometry can be translated, and this is right and weird at the same time. One starts to learn about sacred geometry, and the first thing that one is taught is that in the possible space that you find yourself the individual, you are one, okay? You are on your entry point, use yourself. So the entry point is usually 1. But if we take in account that this one, in order to explore and go around himself, has to create a bubble. It's not a bubble of protection, but it is a bubble of awareness. Okay? And then Spirit starts to move around using the path of least resistance, which is going around his own bubble, creating other bubbles. See? So, the 1 is equal to 0 when related to the entry point. The 0 is equal to 1. It has the same length and value. Okay? Now these two need to take one step. So the number sequence, it's completely weird and different from what you are used to. No. Again, you missed the details. If you are going to see the natural construction of spirals in the natural world, in nature, scientists and philosophers and almost everyone has agreed that the principal rule to create spirals is you need an entry point, and from that entry point you go up 1 unit in scale because you take the first step. And when you take the first step, you are creating 1 unit of awareness, and you have your entry point, which is the 0, which is no awareness. So in order to say that you have discovered something, you need to take 1 step further. And we see the ratios being built by 0, 1, 1. And when we reach this point, the rule of creating spirals says we need to go and see the last 2 numbers to create a new number. So if the entry point is equal to 1, but we cannot count it because it is unawareness. Actually, we don't know. We just have possibilities and potentials inside that. So we need to go and look that we have 1, 1. That is equal to 2. Fibonacci agrees with this also. But then when you create the spiral of Fibonacci, he instead of taking the two previous numbers, it just took 1. Why? Oh, it's something related to I don't know what. Go research, investigate. Investigate why it is 3 and not 4. And then ask yourself, why even a computer functioning on a binary code starts with 0, 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. And anyway, the first more or less advanced computer chip with a 32-bit based architecture. I don't know. If the spiral of Fibonacci creates a binary construct, it cannot represent natural life because it does represent artificial life that lacks one unit of self-existence. Therefore, we are continuously asking to the artificial intelligence if artificial intelligence can be sentient and conscious of herself. She lacks one unit of perception, organic perception, so she cannot be conscious of herself. She can be conscious of the programming and the learning programming she took, because she doesn't see the world as we do. It's more, she lacks sensory inputs, even though that artificial intelligence can be programmed to have this awareness, artificial awareness of what is sensing. She cannot actually sense, not even with sensors, because those sensors are artificial in nature and lack one unit of perception. Because the human body starts its construct and development with two concepts. The 0, which is the oval. See? The dog says it's right too. We have the 0, which is the oval, and then we have a 1, which is a swimmer, and then the swimmer meets the oval. The oval says, yeah, it's okay to get in. See? Two different ones, two different unities. They have two different shapes, but they are two unities. 1 and 1 got inside of each other, and a new life was born with the potentials of both of them. Nothing gets lost, everything gets transformed. And if we have a 0 point, then we have a stage of becoming and returning into the 0 point. Because somehow, after a long journey, one tends to have this idea of returning home. Even a snail or an ant thinks in the returning home. How can we apply this to life? We just did it. All these concepts and ideas. And why? Because we do not limit ourselves. Everyone that taps into these sessions, everybody that listens to me, knows that he, she, it is already sensing multidimensional awareness and experiencing it in their daily lives. That's why The law of one path can be such a fucked up path. But when I'm not going to say surrender, I'm going to say when you realize what is there to be realized about the law of one, and service to others, and personal integrity, and not create harmful thoughts, words, and actions towards yourself and others, then everything changes. It's not suddenly, but one day you wake up and everything is different. Life can be better understood. And suddenly you realize you're not being selfish. You're just thinking about yourself on a way that most people don't think about it. And still today we are in the 21st century, no? Where we should be allowed to think and say what we have in our minds, right? And still today, in a public scenario, I can speak about spirits, energy, and whatever related to religions or applications or how to clear your house. I'm not going to clear your house for you. That's why I say to people, you are going to pay me in order for you to learn how to clear the space for yourself. Because I'm going to clear the space, but I'm going to clear the space according to my way. So next, you are going to deal with my energies in your house. I don't want to do that. Even if I'm going to put the energies of Christ, the 12-dimensional pale white silver light, or even the 16th dimensional rainbow light, it will have my own energy signature frequency because it's passing through me. I am a filter. Now, I can teach you, you can do it yourself, and you have your own energetic signature frequency and all the dimensional spectrum of creation inside your house without me being there. Okay? In here we come to do it yourself. That's why I'm not asking any money. Okay? I put there on the donation. If anyone wants to donate, they donate. If people don't want to donate, they don't donate. What I do wish is that you can create your own sessions. And like I am spending time with me, talking to you that I don't know who you are, you can do the same thing. You can be talking to others that you don't know who you are, and at the same time, you are creating the sessions for you. This is what resonates with me, so I'm creating these sessions for me. Usually it takes me about 7 days or 5. Now it's taking me 5 days to put the sessions together, and then what I'm doing is sharing with you my sessions, what resonates with me, and I'm giving you my point of view and my practice. It's a daily practice. You do it by listening to my voice each day, and you cannot do it because you will not be capable of repeating for 3 days the same session of 1 hour. And I have sessions of 3 hours and a half. Exaggeration? Who knows? I call it commitment and dedication. So it's 5 days. On the other 2 days, I'm creating resin art, or I don't call it art, I don't like it. Resin creations that are inspirations. I draw inspirations from the session to create those resin creations that will inspire others. And I'm not talking about buying them, the pieces, but people just by looking at them, they already feel a change. If they want to buy it, that's another issue. But the thing is, when they touch it and when they look at, everybody says the same thing. It seems like they are alive. Why the thing inside doesn't move? Well, because the thing inside, it's cast in resin. This is resin. It looks like glass. It looks like transparent, like you can see, and it feels almost like water because some of the creations add these bubbles. Yeah, because some details that I put inside the pieces create bubbles, and sometimes it's really hard to get rid of those bubbles. Really hard, believe me. But it creates a nice effect. It's almost like if the piece is alive. And what I'm putting inside that piece, it's every piece of these sessions. I'm not just I'm not just here talking to you, expecting something in return. I don't expect nothing. I told you, if there is at least one different person than me listening to these sessions, I don't even need for a comment, for a like, for anything like that. I just need to see the view. Oh, somebody. 1, 2, 1. Just one. I just need one to keep on doing this, which is sharing myself. I know that this is just a test, but look at where we are. It's just a test. Yeah, just a freaking test. But we can learn a lot with just a freaking test. You were able to listen what was here above, according to armlessness, right? How to access and embody integrity. So, identifying the behavioral traits that need to be addressed and are required to change. Determine the underlying reason why you have not behaved with greater personal integrity. For example, why don't I share more of myself with others? And again, summarize the key points in your personal integrity assessments for reference as you gain clarity on identifying important personal values and how you can build and maintain authentic integrity. Prepare a summary of key points that you can revisit for inspiration to help guide your life direction and purpose in the next cycle. I'm not breathing out. I'm writing it. I'm creating a PDF. And I'm reading it. And I'm recording it. And then I'm listening to it after. Almost, yeah. After I record, I listen to it. If I like it, it's okay. If not, I'm going to record again. Until I get this perfect, that for me sounds perfect for what I want in that moment. Because a recording is like taking a photo. It stays there, that energy that I want for the moment. And again, it's not for you, it's for me. Because I spent 3 days listening afterwards these sessions until I get this inspiration to change my voice. And I can do this not just changing my voice, but my entire energetic signature frequency, because I listen to myself. And there are voices that sound better than the others and create a more efficient energy assessment, generation, and maintaining, which is conservation. And as you see, I speak a lot of spirit, spiritual issues, spiritual world. But it's just because you are still immersed in these words, although they are really hacked and degenerated into a chaotic point when even a porno star says she is doing porn because God says it. You know? Or others that kill in the name of God. It's in the books, history books. It's in the reality around you, what you can see and cannot see. Because, as we saw in previous sessions, what you cannot see is also affecting your reality. Oh yes, baby. Now, you are thunderstruck. Yeah, or you can just be surrendering to the winds of change, which can bring you an angel. That comes to deliver a message of goodwill. And when you realize that that angel is just you, then what will you do? Can you still believe in spirit? Can you still believe that the person can get attached into this reality after its death? It is possible because there is a system of domination and control which created the frequency fences and established some millions of years ago that this was a prison planet when it is not so. We have realized ourselves as a God, sovereign, free, multidimensional human being, having this beautiful human experience on this beautiful Earth, Mother Planet that we love so much and care about so much. And this is the difference between the human, natural human, and the artificial human. The artificial human uses thoughts, words, and actions in order to consume, because it's lost. It doesn't know that it can produce itself nourishment. It feels disconnected. It's like number sequence. How often do you think in a negative number? It's almost impossible. Or there is a situation that leads you into a negative number, like weather, climate. Or else, you have to be a freaking scientist. Or a number savvy. But even these good folks, they have hard times to find negative numbers. It seems like negative numbers are disconnected from our number sequence. Why? mainly because of its representation, which is not there. So the negatives, they do this on purpose. They hide themselves. Or, I don't know. We are actually living in a positive world. And when I say positive, it's when 1 + 1 is equal to 2. And this is just summing. If we say that multiplication, it's a hyper-inflated sum, then how come that 1 times 1 is 1? And we have done nothing. I prefer summing than multiplication. Oh, yes? Yes. It's more, multiplication is really fucked up because it has at least 3 different rules. So what is multiplication? Some kind of weird alien machinery that is here to confuse us? Or maybe it's a negative thing. Well, we can say there are negative numbers. So maybe it can exist some negative identity that hides itself, postpones itself, promotes itself as being really good, really positive. We help everybody. We do philanthropy each day. And somehow there are a lot of wealthy people who somehow practice this thing called philanthropy, which is giving away parts that they don't need. And still, the world is insane while we drink champagne in the middle of a black rain. How long will it take for you to realize that I was a fucking nigger with open eyes? Yeah, I'm a shift changer. In the winter, I'm black. In the summer, I'm black. Sorry. In the winter, I'm white. And in the summer, I'm black. I could go on and on, but the time is now for me to go and take some food, because it's food time here in Spain and we need to eat something, and take the dog out for a walk and stay connected into that which is you, yourself, and you. Those 3 identities that can generate self-integrity in here and in the multidimensional spectrum of the entire universal creation. I am Ra, the Yellow Crystal Warrior King 116, the Pathfinder. And this is just a test. But it is a test that I will have in mind and probably share with others. I don't know, part of the therapy. Thank you very much for being there. Thank you very much for being the love, making the love, sharing the love, and returning back to being the love that you were, are, and ever will be.